Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about 5G AirFiber. So let's dive deep into it. So what exactly we are talking about here? Well, we are talking about the reality that not everybody can get fiber. I am very lucky that my country is starting to roll out fiber to the home very seriously, and I once lucky like few years ago. Heck, you can watch my very early videos, and that time I was relying on some very bad local broadband. Not good. So not everybody has that luxury same way I do, whereas like you have fiber, you have that box, you put it, you got it, done, go home. Not everybody has that. So reasons could be anything. For example, not available. Your area may simply just not have a fiber to the home service. Then unreachable. Now this is very awkward, but it does happen where time to time you could be like literally surrounded by colonies that have fiber, but your colony does not get it. That is a surprisingly common thing, but it does happen. And multitude of reason could be there. There could be separated by a sewer or gutter where they cannot just lay fiber down, or some other issue, some land dispute and all that. So it's just unreachable, even though around you you have it. And then just the mess part. Now this mess part is very important for people who are living in a hostel, rented place, PG and things of that nature, because again this does require some serious connection. You may need like wire that is literally coming to a pole near you. That pole will have that box will give you the fiber. That fiber will go to inside your house and have this. That's easy to do if you are the house owner, but for rented apartment, bit difficult. So there are some genuine reason where you cannot just get fiber. Now 5G mobile network should, this is the selling point of it, should provide fiber-like speed and low latency. Not only it will give you the burst needed, it will also give you enough latency that it will be stable to use. So that's the whole point, that 5G is supposed to be fiber. So what if instead of having actual fiber, what if you just use that 5G backbone as a broadband? Home broadband has always been much more reliable, much more capable compared to mobile network. It was always moving 1 or 2 generations ahead. For example, back in the 2G era, mobile, like you would be lucky to get few kilobits per second. That time you could have easily bought broadband like I did, 2 Mbps. So then we went to like hundreds of Mbps, then we went to 4G. Now 5G is the first time where on paper at least, both are at the same link. Heck, fiber is actually a bit more expensive because your 5G phone, all 5G phones supposed to be able to reach 1 Gbps, while your fiber, again, I'm not that rich, so I only pay for 300 Mbps connection, but again, you can go to 1 Gbps. So, and majority of people do not go that far. So that creates a scenario where 5G is actually ahead. So why not use that to provide broadband to home? So let's understand the engineering logic behind it. So logic is very simple. If I give you a technology and if I said to you, power and size are not an issue, you're going to go YOLO and you're going to get awesome stuff. For example, this is basically 5G mobile antenna, and each of these antennas have multiple units inside them which are acting as a beam forming system. So you can see one is on top, one is, this is generally a good representation what every company tries to achieve, where they're going to have like, hopefully have a complete coverage, so to say. But you can see like how tiny these things are. These things have to be tiny, and on top of being tiny, it also has to be very power efficient. It cannot just consume power because you're running on battery. So mobile phone, even though it has 5G, the 5G is not spreading its wing properly, so to say, because it's a mobile unit. It has to be small, it has to be power efficient. So these things create a very serious issue. So same technology, take the damn chip itself, but if you put like let's say all of them in one flat plane and aim that flat plane to cell tower, you're gonna be like, damn, I never got this sort of speed on mobile phone. That's over. And a static receiver, meaning whatever you are receiving, you just put it there. It requires less calculation. Like, why? Well, whenever you see something like this, yes, it is true. You cannot use a big antenna here because the wavelength is very small, but you have to use multiple of those antennas. So like this has 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the point. Like it has a lot of them. And like this is Starlink, to give you an idea. Like antennas are so small, tiny. That's those dots, those are antennas. How many of them? Yeah, that's the whole point. You always need a giant amount of them to do proper beam forming. So that requires calculation. Beam forming is a calculation, and every time you're moving around, the calculation has to be like that. Base tower is also doing the calculation. You're also doing the calculation, aiming your beam along, and that causes packets drop. That requires processing power. But if you put it static, like this is it, calculation would be done at the handshake time and done. It's efficient. It's less packet drops. It's much more wise. Same power envelope. So if you have a static receiver, you do not have to worry about power, you do not have to worry about size, you're gonna get amazing thing. And outcome was, mobile phone is designed for remote communication, meaning you are moving around and all that, that's good. But for our homes, we generally rely on Wi-Fi. So why not use Wi-Fi as is, but use 5G as backhaul, meaning, so we know Wi-Fi works. It's awesome, known technology. Heck, I have two routers. I have one ground floor and one top floor that has Wi-Fi. One router for ground floor, one for top. Heck, some of them have like multiple 5 or 6 routers. So it's a known, it's tested. So what if we use 5G as backhaul and Wi-Fi as front end? And what would be the benefit of it? Benefit would be low capital requirement. Of course, you will get much better quality of service, much better reliability and much more throughput. But overall, the main point would be it will be cheaper, because while taking the fiber to the mobile tower, it's a fixed cost. You have to do it. Taking that fiber from that mobile tower and now distributing it to every household versus putting an antenna on top. Antenna on top is free comparatively speaking. And even on the receiver end, it's not that expensive. So that's the logic behind it. Yes, even though you may be like, hey, don't I have 5G on my mobile phone? Your 5G mobile phone versus 5G or router that is designed to be static, designed to work 24/7 and consume a lot of power, it won't even be a fair competition. I can put the same SIM. If both of devices are compatible, you will find it shocking how fast you can get if you have a lot more antennas and you can do proper beamforming and you are static. So that's the logic behind it. There is a genuine way where you can do this. And before we had fiber everywhere, before we even had 5G, we had 5G backhauls for 2 remote locations, meaning especially in mountainous area where they could not lay the fiber down. They're just like, hey, let's put a tower, both were using 5G backhaul. So same technology, shrunk it down, made it low cost enough where you can use it in your household. So what are the tools? In India right now we have 2 tools provider. One is Extreme AirFiber, which is from Airtel. Now what they are selling you is something like this. Now this is literally looks like a rush product to me because it has a WAN port. It does not make sense. Why the heck a 5G router has a WAN port? So my guess is that they went to a OEM and they got something done quickly. So it has a SIM port on bottom. So what the original device would have been, normal router with 5G failover. Many times if you are running a small office or home office where you cannot just like, oops, my connection went. In those sort of time, people will have a proper whatever fiber have you. But just in case, like, once in a blue moon, something bad happens, that connection goes down, it will switch over to 5G. So I think that's the device and they're just like, okay, we have that, just buy it. And I'm reasonably sure once it starts to sell, it becomes a normal thing. Reasonably sure they're gonna remove the SIM part with eSIM. Now you're like, why? Well, this device is expensive. This is Wi-Fi 6 and having 5G antenna and all that, I'm pretty sure this puppy is expensive. So company is selling it at loss. So if once people can do jailbreaking this will cost them a lot of issue. People will just buy it and they will never pay for subscription. They're like, yeah, I bought it, done, bye. I do not know you after that. So that's what they are doing. It's very efficient, very easy to use. And then you have JioAirfiber, same technology, but they went a bit more extravagant. Though they have this puppy on your rooftop and this will go to a splitter. Splitter will go to a router in your home. Now you're like, why the heck you have that much hassle if you can do something like this? Well, this is good. Same thing. If you put it here, it will be better. Why? While 5G is very good at like a beamforming and all that, it's inherently very easily blocked. Heck, you can block it with a human hand. Imagine blocking it with a concrete wall. So what if you can just yeet that puppy into free space, as in roof? You will get same amount of power, same amount of antennas, same everything. You will still get more clearer signal, less packet drops. So why not do it? So that's the approach what Jio is going for. And Jio is like, hey, we're gonna come to your house and we're gonna figure out which is the best direction, which antenna facing, and we're just gonna lock that puppy down. You do not have to worry about it. And then we're gonna give it a splitter. Now why splitter? Well, splitter, I think the cost of that antenna would be expensive. So splitter is designed to split the connection if needed to 7 people. It will work 7 people. It will work well with one also. But if let's say same household, let's say multi-story building, which is very common in India, you have multi-story building and a lot of people are there, and let's say someone in ground floor bought it, okay, no problem, this is already done. Somebody in third floor is like, hey, I also want it. So they will call Jio. It's like, I want this connection in this location. The moment they will check the location, it will ping, hey, it's already there. So they're like, okay, we're just gonna give you this. So they're gonna connect it from here. Now I'm like, what about electrical sharing? Well, all units have PoEs, meaning every router has PoE injector, which is feeding power here. This is feeding power to the antenna. So if you turn off your unit, it power goes to them. If both of you are working, power is shared, load is shared. So that's how they make sure that you do not get billed for it. Meaning if you turn off your system, you will not have electrical bill, and nor the system will go down, because anybody who's like injecting the energy into it can keep running it. So if there are 7 different customer, and all 7 can use it without any hassle. So that's the design philosophy of Jio. And I'm pretty sure this puppy is expensive. That's why otherwise they would not have bothered with this splitter. That means the per unit cost is very high to the company, and company is hoping that this will allow them to milk it more efficiently. So assuming, let this be very clear, we do not know the mobile end of things unless you have like actual radiometer and you're actually sitting down, you know what load is on the tower, how many customers are active on the tower. If you do not know those things, we cannot know this. But assuming if both are same, like as in X amount of power is coming and it's completely unsaturated, meaning network is ready to go. If X amount of power is there, Jio will be better. Flat out. And that better part may not translate to, because you may be only subscribed to 100 Mbps connection. It may not make a difference. Say, oh, this can make a link up to, let's say, 1 Gbps. This can only go up to, let's say, 800 Mbps. However, it will become a very important thing at bad weather. The moment you have bad weather, this will be like struggling. This will be like, I'm out. So that is a very critical aspect. So yes, you are getting a much more hassle. It's not just portable anymore, but it has still its advantages. So it's up to you. Basically, for most people, this sort of philosophy, this sort of design is better. But for people who are looking for non-fiber thing, they're like, hey, this actually looks like what I was promised. And be mindful, Jio's original advertisement, they had something like this. So it does not make sense how like this happened. And be mindful, I'm reasonably sure all these devices will go through multiple changes. Heck, I bought Jio when YouTubers were reviewing it in early days, launch time, it was white box. Then it became a blue box. Then my basically relative in my location got a smaller one. They're like blue smaller one. I got blue bigger one. Now there is blue even bigger. So it happens, the tools will change, but this is the core philosophy of it. One is like one complete unit, plug the power cable, forget about it. This is a more involved, but it will give you much more oomph. So that's the tool side of it. Now, before you get carried away, you must understand this core aspect is the bandwidth. So what you have to understand, it's not unlimited, meaning entirety of humanity is connected by these puppies, undersea fiber cable. And they have limitations. Now, like, can't we send multiple channels through fiber? Yes and no. Yes, you can send multiple channels, but every fiber, it's made out of crystal. That crystal has a certain absorption, meaning some wavelength will be like, I'm gonna go for thousands of kilometers. Other wavelengths, lol. So there is an actual reality-based physics limitation where you cannot just like, what if I change the emitters and receiver on both ends? People do that. We have been upgrading, but we are reaching at the final point where we cannot do it any further. On top of that, these especially long cables, they have what we call repeaters every 100 kilometer or so. Those repeaters are optics repeater, meaning if you send a wavelength that is not designed to boost, your signal will never get on the other side. So there is a physical limitation, how much data, how much terabytes per second we can share A to B. So that's a fundamental limit. So how does company maximize profit given that constraint? So every nation has what we call ISP, so to say, national ISP. So they will take care of the cable. Of course, you could still have private entities that are doing it, but generally there will be a national system that is taking care of it. It's too expensive. So in case of India, we have VSNL, and only one company that I know of that has their own undersea fiber is Jio. But VSNL takes care of the cable, splits it into multiple customers, and it keeps getting split until it reaches you. That's how everybody is doing this. And mobile towers always have fiber connection that is their own, so to say. So companies oversell you. What does that mean? That simply means you can go to a company. Company is like, I'm going to build a tower here. That tower has, let's say, 4 antennas looking at 4 directions. Each antenna is capable of 500 subscribers. So company will be like, okay, we're going to start selling it. Okay, they budgeted everything. If every customer is using, let's say, 10 Mbps, how much we need? Do we have fiber connection? Yes, we have. Awesome. But here's the deal. What happens when more customers starts to buy in the system? Which happened? Here's the deal. Company never upgrades the system. Company's like, hey, it's still working. So you could literally have towers that are oversaturated to 10x. Where it could be like, hey, I'm designed for 1,000 people. I can maintain connection with 10,000. I'm not supposed to give high speed to 10,000. I cannot do that. Physically cannot. You're supposed to have multiple towers. That's why even though you could have good signal strength, you may not be getting good speed because it could be the tower, the base itself could be oversaturated. It's like, bro, 500 customer. You have given me 1,000 or 2,000. Now that's for short burst. Companies design that for short burst, not for continuous use. And quality degrades. The longer it has to be there, the quality degrades. So That's the whole point. Companies are overselling it. So they know how much capacity they have. If they sell SIMs and whatever, even fibers, they know for a fact how many, like as in how many liters of capacity they have. They oversell it. So consequence of that, during some peak scenarios, if a lot of people start to use the system at the same point, for example, in case of India, it happens generally during cricket matches, where a lot of people start to stream at the same time cricket match itself. So the whole system grinds to a halt. Even though on principle, it should be like, no problem. It's just that, yeah, we oversold it. So if a lot of people start to use at the same time, yeah, system will halt to a grind and then poof, done, gone. So we generally have this sort of puppies, 5G cows. They're supposed to use either different sort of frequency wireless backhaul, or sometimes they have ways to carry the fiber itself, and then they're gonna go around, let's say, stadiums. If they know stadiums most of the times are empty, but sometimes they will have a very big crowd. So companies will bring multiple of these puppy, and then they will make sure that you have good communication. So mobile towers are the worst at this, that oversubscription part. So how the heck we actually use it? If everybody is overselling, how the heck we use it? Well, not everybody uses it at the same time. Some people will be like, I just put something on download and I do not worry about it. Some people will be like, I'm using it afternoon. Some people will be like, I'm using it at night. So it always balances it out. Enterprise connection, that's the criteria. So if you're running an office, if you're running an ATM, you're running anything that is serious, you generally have to get enterprise connection. The only difference between enterprise connection and other things is companies generally at enterprise connection will say, we're going to give you a dedicated link, meaning nobody's going to take that capacity away from you. Meaning, even if you are running at max capacity, maximum saturation, and we want to use your system, and if we use your system, the moment you start to request, like you start to send data packets, poof, every customer will be poofed other than yours. So enterprise connection, that's why they are sometimes so expensive compared to commercials, basically a normal user system, because they get that dedicated lane. So most of the time, companies will have like a fiber link that sometimes could be literally unbroken and goes to this exchange. So enterprise connections are different for that reason. And 24/7 link uptime and priority. So if you're running an office, do not rely on 5G. You can have 5G as a backhaul in case of failover, meaning you are relying on fiber and something bad happens. Oops. Okay, it goes to 5G. So you, instead of just grinding to a halt, you will be like, okay. Company is still connected. Things are like you can arrange your load. So fiber to the home has better allotment, because from here to here, mobile tower to your home, fiber is actually, because again the laws around the consumer protection says that if you have an actual connection, like physical connection, you have to give the stated amount. So allotment is generally much better. It's because of the loss. If we did not have a lot, I'm reasonably sure even our fiber connection would be like, yeah, at its peak time is going down, which does happen at some times where peak time you will feel a bit sluggish. It won't be choked or blocked, but it will feel very, it should be a bit more snappy. So that's the bandwidth part of it. That's the law. And every company is overselling it. Every company does that. It's almost like a business plan right now. So be mindful of it. Now let's compare all this AirFiber to fiber. Well, the reality is, do not fall for market hype. Let that be very clear. Yes, they claim it's fiber like it's not even fiber, not even close. Do not fall for it. And only buy those sort of thing, AirFiber system, if you have no other choice. Meaning, if you are trapped in a location where they will not gonna bring fiber, yeah, switch into it. If you are a student who does not have like control over the building, yeah, use that. But other than that, do not. Like if you have a choice, go with fiber. And yes, I do understand. Yes, I did get fiber in my household. It's a hassle. Let that be very clear. They have to come to your house, and it may require a back and forth up to 1 week or 2 weeks even, where you actually get it. But assuming all the hassle that you went through, you will forget them soon the moment you start to use the stability and speed of a fiber connection. Where it's like, it's here. And now you can use the Wi-Fi that you always wanted, and as many Wi-Fi as you want. Rather than just relying on one system, you could have like cheap Wi-Fi that is multiple of them. Like multiple access point is much better than one very expensive system. Ask any radio engineer, that's just law. So you can have very cheap access points, multiple of them. It will give much better coverage, much better connection compared to having one big one. As long as you can figure out how to do roaming. So be mindful, modern systems can do it automatically. So we have to understand, company cannot give 100% 4G coverage. Many of you, have you ever experienced 4G at full capacity? That's supposed to be 100 Mbps. And I could understand that on day one, 4G towers were not that efficient, 4G mobile phones were not that efficient. But what about right now? Right now we have 4G at its final form. We have 4G mobile phone in its final form. Why don't we get 100 Mbps reliably on 4G? And you expect the same company that cannot even give you that to give you 5G? No, that's not happening. Flat out not happening. See, the only reason why people are getting such a good experience with 5G is because right now the saturation, the bandwidth selling part has not reached here. Every time we have seen this, like it happened in early 3G. 3G was so slow, it did not actually make that much of a difference. 4G, it was like, whoa, people were like, whoa, I can do video calling reliably, to what the hell? Like same network, same location, same mobile tower. It's just that now customers are there, then network tower is like, bro, we need more antennas. Companies are like, lol, profit, we don't want antennas. So if companies in your location are not giving you 4G, do not be smoking weed and assume that they're gonna give you high speed in 5G. See, the only reason 5G is fresh right now is because new fiber maybe have been laid, new routers could have been placed there, new connection, new everything. So now you're enjoying the naked system. So it's whoa. But I can guarantee you, the moment it reaches saturation, maybe 1 or 5 years from now, you'll be like, back in the days, it actually used to be fast. Then they will create the same thing with 6G. So you have to understand this. If you're a company, you have to understand increasing profit margin is the core aspect. So having that last mile fiber where you have to train people to do this, like splicing fibers, it's expensive. Why not just troll them with 5G and claim that it's a, AirFiber. Remember, this is the real AirFiber, which is they are using lasers to actually communicate on some remote locations. Does those puppy work? Yes, they do give you around a few Gbps of connection, and it's a very good black hole connection if you are like physically not able to lay down the fibers. Does have problems, same problem as like it does have worse blocking if you have fog and basically dust and smog. This will be slowed down drastically, but does have much higher throughput if you have clear line of sight. So companies always focus on increasing profit margin rather than profit itself. It took me some time to understand. Profit itself is not that amazing if you do not have good profit margin. So companies are focusing on profit margin and they're like, hey, mobile tower, we already spent on the mobile tower. What if we just end there and just put some towers up? Heck, most of the time they will not even put it up there. Just go in the software and say, okay, if you're detecting subscribers that are from this category, this tag, just to give them a bit more juice. So be very cautious. If you can get fiber, does not matter, be it Airtel, be it Jio. If you can get fiber, get fiber. Do not risk that JioAirfiber. If you have no other option, I understand it. But if you have option, do not hate yourself. Because you will hate yourself if you actually get AirFiber, then you're like, I should have put up with the hassle that it requires for fiber. Because it will be barely 1 month and then you'll forget about it. So this was my presentation on basically 5G AirFiber. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.